Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Into the Badlands, Dragonfly's Last Dance. And I thought this episode was okay. The biggest issue for me was the whole Widow's storyline. And not mainly the content of it, but its execution and the players involved with it left much to be desired. Other than that, Pilgrim's story was pretty good, and Sunny's was bang on with little sprinklings of Baji in there throughout. So, Widow's whole thing is, we're seeing everything going alright, they're trying to figure out what to do, and her tactic is to do a giant surprise attack on one portion of Chow's forces in order to break the stalemate. We've essentially got a World War I kind of warfare going on here at the moment where they're all throwing bodies at each other and they're not gaining ground. So the Widow's like, okay, let's do this. Whereas Moon and Lydia are more like, we could probably try some other different tactics involved. That if we do this and it doesn't pay off, our forces are going to be wiped out. But of course, she decides to go through with it anyway. As they're attempting to do that, others of the Widow's troops start to kind of like get wind of it and everything, and a coup is born pretty much, with Ren, who Baji had saved previously with her leg getting removed, and Arthur, the one that Sunny had helped with the sniper alley. Now granted, they have legitimate grievances against the Widow, pretty much using them as just throwaway cannon fodder. But there's not really that much depth to them, so seeing them kind of go throughout the Widow's compound and have a good fight scene, like a short fight scene where they kind of like gas the Widow and Gaius as they lock them up for later, was pretty cool, but otherwise it's just like, we captured you. We want you to sign an armistice with the Widow to stop this war. I'm like, what? You people are fucking stupid. You think Chow would actively fucking just stop it and not be the last Baron standing? I mean, she'd sign it and then immediately come and kill anyone involved. Of course, the Widow kind of sees through this as well. I mean, like, yeah, she pretty much want cogs and everything, but they're like, well, we want to stop this war because you're just as bad. I mean, you say that you're trying to make the world a better place for everyone, but you're not really. And I like that it had the Widow having, like, introspection about what she's doing and what she's kind of been becoming as being a Baroness. But I wish it had been done kind of better because I don't give a shit about Ren and Arthur doing this. I just think the execution and other characters that would have been built up better would have worked better. Like if Moon or Lydia had attempted this instead of Ren and Arthur. Now granted, I understand that they needed to do it because they're throwaway characters. Doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, whatever. So Lydia is in the compound while this is going on crap, and is able to kind of work it to her effect to tell them about the seal and everything, so that way the Widow signs it for the armistice, and they're going to have Lydia go send it up. Of course, Moon was outside of the compound when this was going down, saw that checkpoint had been taken out, to find out that it's of course butterflies and bowler hat people, and like, oh crap. Moon goes off to get Tilda to help him gather her warriors and then go and save the Widow. That's when they link up with Lydia. They think that she has betrayed them, at least at first, but they're like, no, I'm glad you're here. Of course, the Widow had relayed some information that was pertinent with Tilda, and they're able to get inside and attempt to save the Widow and Gaius. But of course, they had conditions that Lydia had to be back by sundown. She wasn't, so they executed some hostages. Arthur was kind of gloating, and the Widow killed him in a pretty spectacular fashion. So then, the Widow is able to get out with Gaius, and they're just whooping all kinds of ass. Very well done fight scene. Nothing too fancy. I mean, you see Gaius using his kick-ass kind of moves, and it's kind of cool to see him doing his fighting style. The Widow doing her own good stuff as well. But that's when Ren comes in and has her forces surround the Widow. But then we get, like, at least up until that point that I saw, this is definitely a top-tier kill. Tilda uses her kind of like boomerang and takes out like 6 guys at one shot. I'm like, ooh yeah! Now, granted, that's like the multi-kill of the week, but there's some other kills that come in later on that are definitely better. So, her plan has gone down. Widow captures her and has to make an example of the mutineers, and she goes up, kinda trying to at least get some kind of reconciliation between her and Ren, but of course Ren's not having it. She tried to put a blindfold on her while they were going to execute him, but she's like, no, I want to see it. And she's like, alright, do you have any last questions? Like, be the leader that you promised you'd be. And of course, they execute him, and it's like, okay, that was pretty good. So, that was the iffy part of the episode. So, with Pilgrim, we got some pretty cool things going on. We see their funeral ceremony for Castor, which was pretty cool. And they're talking about how he was like the blood of their blood and all that, and all these rites. And we see that he takes up his swords, and before they like light them on fire to set the pyre on fire, Nyx lays down the viewer, so that I guess that Castor would have the next life. They have like rocks over his eyes and everything. They light his blades on fire and they set it on fire. It's like, wow, yeah. And you see Pilgrim's emotions with this. It's like, yeah, wow. And of course, Hersetia is trying to like get him out of the funk because she has a vision about his kin, and we see him having more kind of what he thinks of the catalyst, and he goes, he's my kin. Do not say it. It's he's my kin and everything. And of course, Hersetia is telling him to be cautious and everything about what's going on. And he, of course, is still pissed off about her pretty much laying Castor's death at her feet, which it is. Nyx, of course, then kind of confronts him about it because she goes, there are bruises on his neck. He didn't have the bruises when he came back. And of course, she doesn't completely bring it up, but Pilgrim's like, you better be careful what you're implying. He died peacefully in my arms. And it's like, why are you keeping that from her? And we see that MK later is kind of talking her through and trying to be helpful and be like, listen, I don't know what the widow did to poison his mind and what lies and everything, but let me help you. Okay? I can teach you to better control your gifts so it doesn't destroy yourself and you don't have to cut yourself anymore. And that's kind of where we leave off Nyx and MK at the moment. So it's like, okay, kind of building up, kind of. He's not completely in the kind of Pilgrim cult, but he's doing it for his own gains, and he's trying to play it so that way he can get after Sunny. But I think that I don't know how much truth is with Sunny being the one that killed his mother. It could be the case, but from some of the stuff that has been brought up with Sunny, there could be another party involved. So, my other favorite part, and well, probably my favorite part, is whenever it deals with Sunny and Baji. We see Baji kind of like trying to help Lily fix the boat and all that, and they do, and in a humorous kind of way in that they were trying to almost get lucky. And it was funny seeing Henry crying and everything, but starting to laugh when Baji got hurt. He's like, oh, you little shit. And it was just kind of a cool, kind of bonding moment that we saw with Baji and Lily, but also Baji and Henry. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah, it's funny when you get hurt. It's like, you little bugger. So we got those little moments interspersed throughout. Sunny's main thing was he was talking with the River King, and the River King gave him a map to Pilgrim, but then Sunny starts going into the boat and everything in this symbol. And he said that the only other person that survived was the captain. And he puts together, he's like, oh, you were the kid. Like, I didn't know that anybody else survived on that boat. And sends him off to the captain. Now, at this point, the River King had said that none of his people will harm him while he's there and everything. But he starts talking about people to the north when Sunny has gone off, and he talks to the captain, and we get some interesting information. The captain's talking about it and says, like, wow, your sister, she was like your guardian angel. I'm like, Sunny's like, whoa, I had a sister? Did she make it off? And he's like, I don't know if she did. That was what was going on. And the axe is pretty interesting that was in his head, and he'd kept it. Still kind of had the same kind of symbol. It's like, ooh, what's going on here? And then she put up a hell of a fight. And it's like, ooh, what are we going to learn from this? Let us see here. So now armed with this other information that we could potentially have Sunny's sister in play somewhere, she could potentially have the same kind of powers he does or whatnot. And talking about the armor and this kind of symbol, it's like, okay. We then Sunny gets back to the River King and we see that his men are conspicuously absent. He went back to the River King because he keeps ledgers, as the captain had told him, and he wants to learn more about his sister and what was going on there. And, of course, the River King gives him the information, but goes, well, I didn't know how important you were. And now that... And the men have been looking for you for a long time. And then we see that the red and black armored people with the symbol are there. We get 3 of them, and this is a great fight scene. I always love it when they're able to do Sunny's fight scenes. And it just shows his versatility when he's using these ladders to like fight these guys. And it was just really great. And I'm thinking, okay, these people that have been after him, they thought it would probably be easier because they probably thought that he wouldn't have learned to be such an effective fighter. But now in the present, you're dealing with one of the best clippers ever in the Badlands. And he just gives it to him, man. I mean, it's not the easiest fight for him because he's kind of caught on the back foot in the beginning, but he just starts wrecking ass, man. I mean, when he uses this, like, ladder to kill this dude, it was just fucking awesome. Just like cracks shit in the river. He's like, oh, I kind of have to get out of here and everything. But he gets up, he uses a typewriter and smacks the shit out of this one dude, and then uses the weapons that they have, these like kind of like flails and mails, like a flail mail kind of thing, and he gets it back and smacks him like on this pinball machine. And of course the River King's kind of left at this point, but he's trying to interrogate the dude. He's like, who are you people? And we had learned from the River King that these people call themselves the Black Lotus, and they won't stop coming for him. He'd also said that he could make this kind of go away for a price, but that's kind of later. But the dude stabs himself with this one thing, and it's poison, and it kills him. He's like, damn it. And the River King did have a page that's got the information that Sunny needs. They bring the River King back in, and of course he's like, I can help you for a price, Sunny. And he does what he should do and kills him by impaling him, no less, by a narwhal head. And I'm just like, holy shit. He's like, now we're done. He takes the page, goes off. I was like, yeah, that was epic. And that's how you kind of end it. It was a better weave together story than the widows that we had seen throughout this episode. So they get back on the boat. Lily's pretty much telling them how they're going to kind of hang it out. She'll park this thing at the Delta, and then it'll just be a kind of short walk for them, and she'll go on her way. Baji then tells Sunny to kind of leave because he wants a personal word with her and says, why don't you come with us? And she's like, well, nah, that's kind of gone. But see, now that the River King's dead, I don't know any debt to anybody. And who knows? Long live the River Queen. I'm like, yes, that might be a little bit arrogant for her to say, but that would definitely work in your favor if she were able to take over the River King's position. I'm like, yes. Baji's a little bit disappointed, but that's kind of where we end it for them. And I'm like, yeah, Sunny's story is definitely getting a lot better and interesting. I'm kind of wondering if him and his sister were part of like a royal family or something. But I don't know. I'd say a royal family, and you're saying, oh, well, why are they trying to kill him? Maybe him and his sister were part of the royal family, but there was a coup done by another part of the royal family to take over a position, because these are elite warriors with very nicely put together armor and are very highly trained and effective. So I would think they would be part of some kind of big group, possibly linked to something that could have been the remnants of Azra. Now, I think that we'll potentially learn that the Azra that everybody's looking for is actually the Badlands, and that it's just descended into chaos. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all kind of works together, what happens when Sunny and the Pilgrim meet, and what kind of revelations that we'll get with like the Black Lotus. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.